We're gonna put that on my way.
Good morning. I should have told you. Michelle said it was story time. Well, it's good to see you all this morning. I've told this story every year about this time since I've been here. But I think it's always worth hearing again. And some of you, of course, this is the first year that you've been here, and some of you are back after being away for a few years, so Freya doesn't know it for sure.
I know it because I was practicing it. I had kind of like this, after school on Fridays, I had to take this church meeting.
Yeah.
Whatever downtown in the church.
So this story starts in the land that we call the desert, the dry land, the Holy Land, the place where Jesus was born and lived and taught people about God. And this story, so we have Jesus, and this story is after, some of you may remember last week he went home and it didn't go very well. Throw him off a cliff, yeah. Well, what happened is that he didn't get thrown off the cliff. What the story says is that he suddenly just melted and moved through the crowd, and they turned around and he was gone. So I'm not sure what that means, but anyway, he left there and he continued to go to all different towns talking to people about the importance of living love. And so he went to big towns and he went to other little towns just like the one that he grew up in. And on the way, of course, he had friends that came with him called disciples. And so where this story happens today is they've been doing this for quite a while, and Jesus is tired. Jesus is tired. He needs a break. And so he decides that he's going to take 3 of his friends. He takes James and John.
3.
I've got another one coming. James and John and Peter.
That's my husband.
Yeah. And so he says, we're going to go on a little bit of a hike. We're going to go up into the mountains.
That's not really a mountain. It is. Okay,
Now it's a mountain, right? And so they go with him, and so he hikes up, and okay, just a second, you're getting ahead of me here. Jesus goes right up near the top, and the other 3 kind of stay a little bit further down, like on one of the little ledges just below. And Jesus is up at the top, and they left early in the morning, and so it's just as the sun is coming up. And the most bizarre thing happens as they're watching, as the sun comes up, all of a sudden, Jesus' whole face started to glow. It was like it was lit from inside. And all of a sudden, his robe became a dazzling white. Shimmering white. And then, as if that wasn't weird enough, all of a sudden, right beside him, out of thin air, appeared Moses. Moses, who lived hundreds of years before. So Moses had been dead a long, long time. But Moses, the one who came down another mountain with the 10 Commandments for the people, he appeared. And if that wasn't strange enough, all of a sudden on the other side appeared Elijah. Elijah had also lived hundreds of years before. He was known as the great prophet of the people. He's the one that helped the people to see what the future was going to hold for them. And James and John and Peter watched as Jesus had a conversation. He talked with these two people from the past. It was strange.
Really strange.
And James and John and Peter were so terrified by seeing this happen that they fell down on the ground, shaking. And then, all of a sudden, this cloud appeared. This great cloud appeared, and it came down, and it descended right over the top of the mountain, so they could no longer see Jesus or Moses or Elijah. And all of a sudden, there was this voice out of the cloud. This voice that said, "Jesus is my beloved. Listen to him." And James and John and Peter were even more afraid and started as if they were going to head and run down the mountain. And then, just as quickly, the cloud disappeared, and there was Jesus all by himself, looking just as normal as when they had set out. And so they got up and they looked, and Jesus came down and said to the three of them, "You don't need to be afraid, that I have been called by God to do a special thing, and you are going to help me. And you're not to tell anybody what you've seen here today."
What happens if they do?
I wonder why they were so afraid.
Because they will just go. Oh, that's whatever you want. It's because they're not used to it, and it's just like, because it's like ghosts.
It was like ghosts, yeah. Yeah, that would.
They're still shivering.
They're still shivering. Yeah.
It's gonna blow.
I wonder why Jesus told them not to tell anyone what had happened.
Because people wouldn't believe them, they would get thrown off cliffs like Jesus would get thrown off a cliff.
Yeah, people wouldn't believe them, and they might get thrown off cliffs too. Yeah. Well, that's our story this morning.
I thought it was about something else.
Did you? Well, it wasn't. It was about that. So, we're going to sing
Sorry?
When You Walk From Here. And I picked this song because I imagined this might be something that they would sing as they were walking back to whatever village they'd been in after having this thing happen on the mountain. When you walk from here.
When we walk from here.